Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said.
I wonder exactly how many mysteries.
Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way,
My dear fellow.
For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
The game is afoot. I like when that pops up in the, we have to fix everything Sholm just said mini games. I don't know what you'd call that, the deductions. But alright, hello everybody. Allie here, and welcome to the gold mine. Almost forgot my own intro, but it's not like I can even start over here. But hey, everybody, welcome to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles playthrough, episode number 24 here. Was hoping that I'd be a little bit further ahead of schedule, but I am thinking I'm going to do my best to try and record 2 episodes tonight, and then either come in early tomorrow if I don't get the second one done, or just have to stay extra late tomorrow night. Get back on schedule by having another Ace Attorney gameplay on Thursday. So instead of a regular episode, just, leaning back on the Alley Plays Thursdays that we used to have, go ahead and have another episode of that. Because I am aiming to get this all wrapped on up, not by this Sunday. This Sunday we do have a new Alley chat that's already been taken care of. But next Sunday will be the first true rest day, not trying to have something filmed and then just completely being exhausted and having to rest, but actually just a planned out rest day, as we should be finishing up actually the Chronicles here on that Saturday before. So not this Saturday, next Saturday. I have actually a little sheet of stuff planned out here through next Sunday, including that rest day. So we're actually getting quite close to the end here. We're getting started, of course, with Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, episode number 4. I believe it was called Karma in the Twisted Bow or something along those lines, but I'm sure once we get to the save file, I'll know exactly what it's called once again. But seeming from that intro, it seems like we're going to be going into a case. Perhaps that's not the most interesting. It said common murder, on a not so popular side of town. But based on this intro here, related to, of course, the insanity with the professor and the Baskerville hound that he used to kill people, and then supposedly, according to the rumors, resurrected, but we know that he probably wasn't even killed in the first place when Mr. Drebber encountered him in the graveyard all those years ago. But I must admit, I'm not honestly entirely convinced that, as we learned at the end of last episode, a lot of spoilers coming. If you guys didn't check that out, make sure you go watch that before getting into this one. But I'm not entirely convinced that Cosmo's father is actually the serial killer. Now, of course, he was quote-unquote executed as the professor. I don't know about that one. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't be completely thrown for a 180 loop. I mean, I know 180 is not a loop, but I wouldn't be completely thrown off if it turns out that Cosmo's father was framed as the professor. So, because he didn't get executed. That's the thing that's not sitting well with me, is that the hanging was fake. But then he still did get shot in the graveyard when he tried to leave, so was it someone that saw that and was like, I'm going to take it into my own hands and kill him because he actually did it? Or were they just trying to lock somebody up and cover up for somebody else and then made it seem like this guy got killed? Because if the public didn't know what his face was, he could just walk around a free man and no one would know the difference. Be like, oh, that guy got killed. Cool. Thanks for letting us know, Scotland Yard. I feel much safer now. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like, they went through all the effort to know that, for people not to know what he looks like. It seems like it was a sham from the start. I don't know. This is one of those things that's very interesting. I have a feeling that we're going to delve a lot deeper into that. Maybe not in this episode, maybe not in the next 2 episodes, but at some point before we finish the game, I feel like these are questions that we're going to be asking. But anyways, curious to learn more about what's going on here, getting into, like I said, I believe Twisted Karma and the Great Bow or something like that. But getting into, of course, playthrough episode number 34, Investigation Part 1. 8 days after the earth-shattering trial and Cosmo regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. That's a nice-looking hotel. It's a nice-looking hotel. Nice lighting, nice windows, nice carpet. Got these things. It's cute. All right, so 10/24. 1st of November, Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Ah, yes, we are preparing for the Forensic Science Symposium. Ah. Is Susato's dad gonna get murdered? As he has a lot of questions he needs to answer. And I feel like I got this feeling that he's not gonna answer them. Just seems like anybody that can get away with being murdered, that was related to that Baskerville case, is getting murdered. Right? There's the assassin sent after Giselle Brett, sent after Dr. Wilson, because he knew about it. I feel like that's also why Sholmes won't let Iris publish the document, because they'll be like, well, she knows, kill her too. Sholmes has the brain of a goldfish. I feel like he knows. I can't tell if he pretends to not know or if he actually literally forgets stuff within a 24-hour time span. And then, of course, once Susato's dad found out that Susato knew a little bit about it, saw that caller, he's like, you're getting your little booty out of here. Get back to Japan at all costs. So, I don't know. I'm kind of worried here for Professor Mikotoba. I also feel like he's oddly suspicious, but I don't think he's an evil character. I think he's just hiding too much. For a good reason. I don't know. He's been acting weird. He's been acting very weird recently. But Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes! I'm so glad we got here in time! Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father! Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer, the professor, you mean? And I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Cosma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right. That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows, then. About Cosma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. See what I'm saying? Professor Mikotoba's got some secrets. I don't like that he has secrets. I don't think he's necessarily a bad person, but then again, Susato got popped out and he's like, peace, I'm leaving for 6 years. Like that's not stellar parenting. I too would not want to be around a baby though. I don't want anything to do with small children. Then again, I was gonna say I can't fault him for that, but then also he went and had a kid, so I was like, take care of your kid, please. Don't just dump Susato. Susato deserves better. Yeah, he isn't the most stellar character. Anyways, let's continue. Ah, there she is. He looks so not like Professor Mikotoba. That's weird. I was like, who's the dude on the right? I'm like, wait, that's Susato's dad. Ah, the judge looks so weird. I don't like the judge out of just being behind the bench. Like, even when we had the full-body judge before, in the first case, in the resolve, I was like, I don't like it. Oh, father! Hello, Susato. How are you? Ugh, I gotta do the nasally judge voice again. Ugh. I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. They sound exactly the same. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Now, the judge is proud of us. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man, and why do I feel as though I've seen him before? He does have a very impressive beard, I must say. I take from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. They look like gangsters. So I'm saying, this man is hiding too many secrets. I also feel like he's gonna get murdered. A firm tap? What? Here we go, then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty! Ah. Oh! You're... I'm traumatized! Ah! The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Stop looking normal, this is weird. Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Jigoku, how are you? It's been a long time. Good, you remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Alright, he's kind of a cool character. Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. Oh, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. And I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. No, really. And I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? Definitely not due to our friend that killed a bunch of British people. What are you talking about, Eugene? Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man, who 16 years ago came to London with Cosmo's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Wow, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Ah ha 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 ha! What if there's actually Jigoku the whole time that was the professor? Sorry? Ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Cosmo's place here on this study tour. He just smiles suspiciously. I don't know. I don't think he's evil, but I get bad feelings about this man right here. Plot twist, it was Eugene Mikotoba who was the professor the whole time. Pinned it on his best friend. Got him executed. Fake executed, then real executed. That must have been an interesting night. Especially with the big old cover-up and everything. It's like, why not just execute him? Why not just execute him? So many questions, so little time. Guilty as charged! Alright, the judge is fun. The judge is fun. I just don't like seeing the judges out of judge context. It's weird. Not used to it. Feel like an elementary school kid that sees their teacher at Target for the first time. Be like, wait, I thought you lived at school. This is weird. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? I have so many questions, you should really tell us. Stone-faced judge. Alright, I guess we gotta ask, gotta have the pleasantries. How was your trip? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time, we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Oh yeah, we had a very relaxing and enjoyable trip over here in the first place. Oh yeah, that was so much fun. Oh, it was wonderful. I lived in a closet. I got accused of murdering my own best friend. We thought he was dead for like about 6 months. It was a great experience. Totally able to relax and enjoy it. So you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening, we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. Alright, one of them's getting murdered, I feel it. It's wonderful that you're invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. Now why do you keep lying to me all the time? It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to integrate himself with Britain's Attorney General. Ah. Alright, so I guess we are placing bets on the judge getting murdered then, huh? Friends with the current Attorney General? You know who wants to be Attorney General? Lord Strongheart. Place your bets in the comments. Does the judge get axed? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts, your predictions here. Nearly 20 minutes into this episode, does the judge get axed in this episode? Anyways, I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of his appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugene. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. Oh, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Cosmo's father, I suppose. Oh, the way they both looked at me was weird. That was a little unsettling. Your outfit's freaking me out. Mafia. Majestic. Mafia. I don't know. I feel like either one of them could be the big twist here for this case. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Cosmo's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Impact. Genshin Asogi. Genshin? You knew, I presume, Father? I mean, how would I not know? Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as soon as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happens, even in our homeland. But what about Cosmo? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? Oh no, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Cosmo growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, I've decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Cosmo's since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us. So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. And as you know, we both thought Cosmo had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die! He's alive! As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say? And I never dared to even dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Man, if something ever happened to me and I went missing, I would hope the government and the police would well, not fruitlessly, but be searching for clues the whole time. That would make me feel important. I mean, hopefully that never happens, but it'd be nice to think people would care, you know, I'm just saying. Cosmo is the stellar student, apparently. The whole government's looking for him. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. And I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I wonder why Lord Strongheart doesn't tell people things. And I must speak with him urgently. Alright, so I guess Susato's dad's getting axed. Oh, I went to go hang out with Lord Strongheart and I died. I wonder how that happened. And I wonder how Cosmo's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Eugene here, Genshin Asogi, and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, and I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. Because, you know, my dad here, abandoned me as a baby with my grandmother. I don't know what happened to my mom, maybe she died in birth or something, but he just kind of up and left for 6 years. We just don't talk about that part. I'm okay. I'm a well-adjusted adult. I promise. You went to do research at Great London Hospital to study autopsy. Practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Ugh, not more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with the bodies following autopsy work. Yeah, I can imagine. So you see, autopsy labs have been something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Kaiden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I know the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after the trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. No, call for the porter then. Just wait here. See, I'm a well-adjusted adult. Susato-san's gone off at a run. And I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. We get to see his full profile for the first time. Naruhodo. And I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. And I've been a miserable father to her. Okay, at least he admits it. At least he admits it. And I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, you see, I kind of abandoned her for the first 6 years of her life. Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. You know, if Genshin had murdered a bunch of people, I would have literally never met Susato her entire life. Yes, I heard. I heard that dude murdered people. And the birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly, it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, so the mom did die. And then he just up and left. Oh, yeah, Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. Point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Oh, we called him Professor. Secret reveal. No, I don't think so, but I just don't like the fact that he holds so many secrets. One other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, we've seen that guy before. I thought that dude was the chairman of the Coach Society. I'm so sorry that took so long. Mrs. Sato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Are they just reusing the sprite there? Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. Such an uncomfortable picture. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. I think he's happy to see you, but I'm pleased then. We were interrupted before. Professor Mikotaba was about to ask me something. You know, last time my friend tried to ask me something, he then kind of died, but not really. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. I can't read. Let's just, hold on, bringing it back. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Have you seen all those sparkling jewels up there? They must have gathered every gem in the world for that. Ah! It's called a chandelier, I believe. It's designed to provide elegant lighting in large, spacious rooms like this. So they had to gather every gem in the world just to illuminate one room? It's probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light. If I tried to hang something like that from the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping on the floor. I think perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Mr. Naruhodo. You're too poor. Susato, how could you say that? Look at those cases just left there on that trolley. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am. Haven't you seen the porter over there? Don't worry, he's obviously keeping an eye on everything. Ah, so it's a trap designed to catch any chancers who might be tempted. Why did the porter give me such a scathing look just now, do you suppose? Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes. Not everyone clad in black is some sort of ninja with intent to steal, you know. I don't know, Mr. Naruto. You can be a little shifty sometimes. Oh, I thought I could click on the plant. I guess it's just this dude. Hello, sir. That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay. Oh, so do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there? Yes, I'm sure it must be. I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like. If the hotel fee was paid through our stipends, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland. True. London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning. Alright, let's go this way. I can't click on the flowers right now. Alright. Look at that! It's a picture of the Crystal Tower. Well, the Great Exhibition is one of Britain's most prestigious achievements in recent years. I wonder how tall it is. It really does represent the pinnacle of scientific achievement in so many ways. There's a 20-meter tall chimney on the bathhouse near my lodgings at Yume University. The attendant there is always boasting that it's the tallest object in the neighborhood. I'm sure. Did you know that over the channel in Paris, there's a tower that's 300 meters tall? What? How many times taller than the chimney at Yume Soken Hot Springs? Oh my goodness. Okay. Yume Soken Hot Springs. May I soak in the hot springs? Yes, you may soak in the hot springs. And if it's that tall, how does it draw properly? The smoke would get stuck, surely. I don't think it's that sort of tower, Mr. Naruhodo. That was a quality conversation, though. That's why I like clicking on stuff, even though I hate when Naruhodo makes puns. Susato made a particularly bad pun the other day in court. But I do enjoy puns. Nah, I can't just go straight up bother Lord Van Zeeks, go hang out at his office. Ooh, let's go talk to Lord Strongheart. Plot twist, we get murdered, game's over. I feel like we're playing Among Us. I don't know who is the suspicious person that we should be looking out for. I think it's Strongheart, but maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know. We got the back sprite of Lord Van Zeeks. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. And I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeeks doing here? My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. This man's theme gives me goosebumps. And he just stares into your soul. My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Right? Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord, I'm right here. Nah, kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced the room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks, and I will attend at once. What was that look for? What do we do this time except be Japanese?
He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he?
I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service?
Mr. Naruhodo is talking about Dr. Scythe! Jeez, you're such an idiot, Mr. Naruhodo!
Ah, of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort, though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing?
What's become of Kazuma-sama now?
Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world?
As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital of Tokyo is 2 million.
I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making, 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques, and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of a great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something.
You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. Oh, so you mean there's stories you can keep out of the papers? Is that what you'd like to tell us? 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial.
We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though.
Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. Nothing, huh? About Lord Van Zeeks' apprentice. Oh yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeeks in the first place? Came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel.
Oh my! So he stowed away to get here!
He had no papers to identify him, no passports, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeeks. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeeks with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeeks. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being.
Oh!
Where could he be going? That's a little odd. I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi. And what we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... Oh yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain.
They were such awful murders! And unprecedented! Using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon!
And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand.
Correct. However, it has to be noted. Ooh, interesting. That there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed anyway. Ah, so you mean it's kind of like how people that lose the Van Zeeks just happen to die, and you think that's cool because London's better off without them? Yeah, I'm catching it. I'm seeing a trend. I don't trust him. Right, I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it?
It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey.
See, Susato knows what I'm talking about. Susato's picking up what I'm putting down. I appreciate it. Susato is the biggest brain in this game. Lord Strongheart doesn't like the fact that we have a big brain. That's it. I get it. Maybe the judge isn't getting the axe. Maybe Susato's dad's getting the axe here. He just decided right now, I don't like that one dude with a mustache. That's literally how this conversation ends.
I don't know, Mr. Naruhodo, that seems like some weird foreshadowing.
Okay, that was it. Go hang out with Iris. I feel safe in Sholmes' suite. Let's go back to Sholmes' suite. Bad things only happen when we leave the suite. Alright. Woo! What? I don't even know how to read that, so we're just moving on. What was that?
Ah! A man screaming! In the most unflattering way!
Do you think? Could it have been Mr. Sholmes?
Oh my! I do hope
not! Who are you? Don't do it anymore. Mon ami, mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. Why are they French?
And I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes.
Right, you two? You coming with me now, down to the clink? No, not in prison. It is dark and damp, and I don't like it. Off, the darkness. This is my friend. I am not scared. Nee! But you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. Oh, so Gina's arresting some, thieves. Nee! I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish it down at the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah? Thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective.
Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she?
Oh, Susie and Runo. I just had a blast. I called the cops and Gina came and arrested her first two scoundrels. Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy?
Yes, I did, because thankfully he's alive. Yours isn't, Iris, but we haven't told you for some reason yet. I'm sorry. We arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend.
Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Oh no, Iris is gonna die.
Ah, yes, of course.
Dr. John H. Wilson.
So, Iris, all that remains now is the greatest of problems known to man.
What? That looks horrible! That is horrendous! That's so bad.
But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows?
I don't like it.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face?
Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea.
Whatever's going on here today.
In that case, let us sit and drink now, for I am in fact expecting a guest later today.
He even has red eyebrows.
Mr. Sholmes, who are the two gentlemen that were here before?
No, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance. And of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manners of infractions.
When the mood takes you?
Not all manner of infractions.
But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out.
Oh my! You're the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes?
But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally.
You should have asked Gregsy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party.
I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Ah, I have it! A bungler! That's the word.
It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads had been up to no good.
I wonder what the men did.
What was that about the greatest problems known to man that you mentioned before?
Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes?
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance?
Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere, possibly.
It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. And according to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops.
Wait, what? We were apes?
Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man.
Our lots? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why, is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent.
But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspels only the other day?
Sure, a large sum. One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you.
Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it.
Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I had to take my car to the pawn shop. I discovered the answer to the man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least.
And what was the answer?
Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes.
Don't tell me! Let me see!
Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think.
In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation.
I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. Yeah, so you know how you told us Cosmo was dead? Would you like to explain that? Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us...
I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that.
Now that the red hair has been there for a while, it's kind of settling in, but I still don't like it. It looks less weird than it did, but it still doesn't look right, of course. In that case, aboard the SS Buria in January, Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on?
The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. And of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. And it was a simple enough task to silence the crew.
But how?
And after they carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
Oh, how horrible!
And it was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course.
But why? Why do it in the first place?
And I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. First, we must wait for somebody to get murdered. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. And I didn't foresee subsequent events.
What events?
His disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh!
And I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment.
Mr. Sholmes. Why does everybody just keep leaving conversations unfinished today? A little weird. Oh, we gotta examine Iris's blackboard. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. We gotta examine Iris's blackboard. Yo, Iris, what you got up here? This blackboard is where Iris scribbles down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look.
Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say.
Oh, we've seen this one already. All right, we'll just go through. The masked Cosmo wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zeeks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. Oh, okay, so you did that, Ryunosuke. And I was like, why does Sholmes know where Cosmo went? What are they up to?
We ought to give it back to him, I suppose.
But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself.
But isn't he your best friend?
All right. Do we have anything in the court record? Nope. What about in the people section? Just making waves. Good. Good. All right, well. What's up with your hair? Let's go upstairs. The spade is still here, look.
Please, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, as I think you well know, it's a shovel.
Oh wait, this actually changed.
Let's give the implement a name like Professor Hairbrain named his tools.
Ooh, I never thought of doing that.
From now on then, let's call it Ryunosuke.
No, it's clearly much more of a Susato. The old argument has taken a new and unexpected turn, it seems. The shovel named Ryunosuke is named Susato. Well, the world will never know. You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered in papers as always.
You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruhodo. No more excuses.
Well, Miss Susato, the way I see it, all these papers building up on my desk like this are a reminder of my wonderfully diverse daily life. I like to leave them as they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such varied experiences.
In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again and feel that joy renewed.
Still can't beat her in an argument, even though I'm the lawyer here. Oop. Clicked out of the window on accident. Susato's desk.
My desk is just as it was before I left.
Sumi ink and a calligraphy brush, even though we're in England now. That strikes me as typically you, Miss Susato, and typically not you at the same time.
Well, I do enjoy all the wonderful new things that come out of the West and the Cultural Revolution, of course. But I'm not ready to give up my brush just yet.
And anyway, Susato-san can write more neatly with a brush than most people can with a pen.
Practice makes perfect, as they say.
All right. Ooh. I'm not sure what to do here. Did I miss something at the hotel, perhaps? I feel like we're missing something here. Doesn't seem like we missed anything here. Alright, nothing hiding here. Perhaps there's something else new in here I gotta investigate.
This looks like last week's edition.
What's that article circled in red ink there?
It's an advertisement column. It says, "To the Red-Headed League."
Red-Headed League? What's that?
I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but
There's something on my face?
Clearly this has something to do with that. Lively hair. Ah, figured it out. All right. No, we got present. It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes.
To the Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way?
I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair.
So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation.
Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut.
So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits.
Regale or boast? In the Red-Headed League. So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you've circled?
You noticed it in the paper, then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment.
It was? How?
And according to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellow, unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair.
That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week.
oh my, £4 a week.
But why? What are they paying people for?
That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case.
You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once.
So will I. Just on the off chance.
That might be stretching a point, I think. Trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see? Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can.
But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away.
It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try?
Oh, so you decided to try to join in his place?
Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-haired fellow?
No.
Why? Why did it have to go so wrong?
What on earth happened?
A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it.
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm glad you asked, Mrs. Sato. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. And I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry.
Chemistry?
And I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair a flame-like red. Would you like to try it? I will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson.
I think I'll pass.
But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say?
But of course. To earn 4 pounds per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger.
That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For this park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong? The whole
park was choked with red-headed folk like a coster's orange barrow. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Nah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which I could do little else but turn and leave. And then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police.
Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads.
Nah! Here is my guest now, my latest client, with money to spend.
Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. And I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating, save locating a runaway, of course.
Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before rent is due. Oh, it's this lady.
Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please, oh please! Please find my husband, he's run away!
To upset me?
I beg your pardon?
Never mind, a personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I didn't say a word.
Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please.
Of course. What's the matter, Mrs. Sato?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Maybe like 8 days ago to trial.
Yes, now you come to mention it. Evie Vigil. Interesting name.
As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object, simply name your figure.
Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. Being offered a case to solve is a reward enough.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the...
Dude, you need money. What are you doing?
You are the picture of benevolence.
I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. And I trust you will remember your words also.
If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be...
Oh, me?
What I'm about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand?
No, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
Ah, I see.
I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing.
Why did I ever get my hopes up? Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before, quite recently, perhaps? Oh my!
Pshaw, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week?
Ah, I knew I recognized her.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine.
I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now.
It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean.
Pardon? Oh my goodness.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really, nothing more.
Now look what you started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much.
I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner.
Yes. I'm not done talking to her yet, though.
Tell us about your husband, madam.
Mr. Vigil, my
Daily vigil. Alright.
is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably.
As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh.
Your dress is the latest style, your hat is clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
A guard? That is somewhat unusual.
So, your husband is a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out.
Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishment?
And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. And of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged?
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it.
Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery.
No. Lowgate Cemetery? The very place we were discussing in court. That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet undeniable.
Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
No, pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter.
This can't really be a coincidence, can it?
So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry, yesterday.
That really is recent, laughably so.
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him to not return at home at night, but this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever can have happened?
My dear Mrs. Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Why, naturally, but sadly, they refused to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for one day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, the chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it.
Oh, you have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
You seek only to put this sweet rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it.
Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir.
Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, I always say. And if you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Thank you. Now allow me to show you the door.
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous.
You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure?
I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Don't look at me with those pleading eyes.
Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case?
Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually.
Excellent. Then what did you make of it?
Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean.
So you've noted that?
Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned among the students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated.
The professor.
And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem.
It's all very peculiar.
Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried.
But aren't you going to go by yourself?
Surely you needed to ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair.
But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair?
That was a quite different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy.
Of course you are. Alright, let's go to the prison. Just go straight to the prison governor's office. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the Watchtower. That's an interesting clock. Alright, so we're in the governor's office. Very interesting little office here. This place is full of hardened criminals. I can't remember the last time a civilian was done here. And you didn't want to talk to an inmate, but to me? His head seems proportionate and not proportionate at the same time. Do you know who I am? I'm the governor, Barry Kaiden, Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Rinosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And in the Eastern Sea. What does that mean? Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes? Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh?
I didn't notice another prison next door, sir.
Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I have no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Now get out my hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. And that surely means...
I think it's because of the professor case.
You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around to boot the case, aren't you? You're agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get on with ya before I punch your lights out. Alright, Conor McGregor, chill out. We're going! Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we could somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us.
Governor Kaiden!
What are you thinking, Mrs. Sato?
I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned it might have some ideas to help us.
Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. I was just wondering if any speech boxes would pop up. I said, get out! Alright, I'm moving. That's Professor Mikotaba over there. Ah, hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs.
Having only just arrived in the country today? Goodness, he is full of energy.
Professor, you mentioned something before. About how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Kaiden, you mean? So it is the same man.
Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners.
Well, and I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee. Now, I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow. You know. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotabas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts.
Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts?
Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Good luck then. All right. That was good. I was like, I think it was Susato's dad who had talked about that guy. Hey, we have a letter for you. And if you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Kaiden. What's this then? You can't pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikoto ba? That young jock from the forensics laboratory. That Mikoto ba? Yes, exactly, him.
Oh dear! Perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yuji Mikotoba's daughter, Susato.
Jings, you're the young man's daughter. And you didn't think to mention that afore.
I do apologize.
Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits? I like the little teacup, that's cute. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing.
I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now.
Just bustin'. I'm Yuji Mikotoba's daughter, Susato. So then, what can I do for you, Hen?
Well, we're currently investigating a case.
It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I haven't heard of anything of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh!
But how can that be?
It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him.
Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, he was. Oop. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Nah, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job.
Oh my!
When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? It can't have been much less than 10 years ago now.
What?
10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye. Does I mind it? You can? Have you nae heard of the fella's name in all that time? That's a worry if he's gone missing now. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it.
I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here.
Governor Kaiden, can you tell us what happens? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago.
Ah!
Which was exactly when the professor case was being held at this prison.
So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of chief warder 10 years ago, you're telling us? What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry, a walk? Aye, that's all word for it in here, a walk to the gallows. And an execution. And it's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see? Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. And why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't ken anything about that, I'm afraid.
Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what would that be, Anne?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's?
My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm at no liberty to answer that.
I see. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. Do you get? Yes, I can imagine.
The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Sinner's. It's still in use today. St. Sinner's? That's come up before, I'm sure. That's the rat hospital, right? Or no, that's Barth. St. Bartholomew's. St. Sinner's, I think, that's where Sholmes went, right? Maybe I'm getting them mixed up.
Yes, that's right, we've been there.
Nicoltaba and I used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, we used to sit in here for hours and gab on about the section and all sorts. Oh, it takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cuff biscuits, of course.
How charming!
He was a good fella, your father. Reliable, dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose. Well. Can't I tell you anything else?
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one moment before you away in. He just carries an axe on his sign. Sure, I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my! Are you sure?
Hey, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original mind. Thank you very much, Governor Kaiden. Well, in return, do me a favor, never come back here. That case is closed.
Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found out about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? We're back!
Hello, you two!
Oh, hello, you two! I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for all of us. Ah, so that's what the delicious smell is. Oh my goodness.
Greetings, my dear fellows! You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating.
I will say the blue looks better than the red. Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Say nothing, your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. And it turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my!
Pray tell me, one of our warder friend, have you garnered some new information?
Oh, yes. Something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest.
It most certainly isn't. But still, we discovered that...
Sholmes! Sholmes! Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important. Gina? I can't Adam and Eve it.
What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss? What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss is... he's... Yo, Accent Gregson was not on my list of things here. What? They just found his body? Shot with a pistol? What?
But... Inspector Gregson!
He was murdered? No, not Gregsy.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story.
Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene.
Where did this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
In the outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there.
Oh, how strange.
The boss he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd become a proper detective.
Oh, Ginny.
So who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him.
Who? What awful person did this?
I still can't believe it myself.
Gina!
It was the Reaper? Wait a minute! You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss? No! Lord Van Zeeks? Alright, this is some 4D chess going on. And I feel like... right, this has to be another tick into the strong heart is evil column, right? Because I know Gregson got into deep trouble with Dr. Scythe for being on the scene inside of Drebber's office with Sholmes and Ryunosuke and Susato. And then, of course, you know, all of a sudden, Van Zeek starts having all these assassination attempts on him, right? Post refusing to listen to Lord Strongheart's orders to not present the disc in Game 1, right? And then he just said, screw the rules, I'm the prosecutor. You know, went full Kaiba, right, in the last case. Like, Lord Strongheart said, we can't summon this witness, but I'm a summoner anyways. It's my job, I do what I want. But wouldn't be able to. I don't think you could probably kill Van Zieks, right? The man's a vampire. Man can fight, man can throw hands. So I don't think you could get the one up on him, but you can frame him for murder. You kill two birds with one stone, literally, because just solution here is just execution for everybody who gets found guilty of murder. Right? Get rid of Gregson. Right? Shipping him off to France, putting him in a foreign country was not enough of getting rid of the problem. Right? Right, this has to, I don't know. I'm wondering if I'm tunnel visioning into the wrong thing. Because I know Steven and New Year team Lord Strongheart not evil. And then Steven and I are team Strongheart is evil. I feel like that was my gut feeling when I first saw him, was I don't like this dude. I don't trust him. I feel like... I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's talk to Gina some more. I can't believe they killed Gregson, man. Well, at least I don't have to shriek anymore and rip my vocal cords, but man, I liked yelling as Gregson. Gregson was a very interesting character. I can't believe you've done this.
Not you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Brock Van Zieks the police have arrested.
I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard.
I don't believe it.
But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him.
So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses?
They had the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zieks would have taken Gregson's life. No, I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This is really most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come in all, as soon as you can. You've got to help.
It's a detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot has unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves.
Mr. Sholmes.
What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson! Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations.
Of course, yes, we will too.
It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. And I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then.
Inspector Gregson dead and Lord Van Zieks arrested. Rudo, Susie! I've called you a hansom. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Miss Susato?
Yes!
Oh, jeez. There he is. Lord Van Zieks behind bars.
So it's true? He really was arrested?
He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zieks. Man, I really love how clean the animations are. Just the subtle things, like the turn of the head, and earlier at the start of the episode where Jikoku and Eugene both turned to look at us a little bit, and I found it very unsettling. I've been really impressed with just the actual quality. I mean, yeah, we got our like little 12 pixel candle over here, but just the way the characters move and look so clean, and just, I've been really loving it. Oh, I can't wait to see what Ace Attorney 7 brings, you know? Because these are the most recent, right? I think Spirit of Justice came out before Great Ace Attorney 1. I have to look. Daigyakuten Kya Kuten Saibon. Right? The 2015. Yeah, and Resolve was 2017. And Spirit of Justice was 2016. Spirit of Justice was 2016. Yeah, so Ace Attorney 2 Resolve came out after. So this is actually literally the most recent entry to the franchise, which means we haven't had new Ace Attorney in 4 years, dude. I recently bought Super Smash Bros. For the Switch, and I obviously had to, the first thing I had to do was buy the character pack for Sephiroth. When is Phoenix gonna get into Smash, man? We got Phoenix in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. We need Phoenix for Smash. I need you guys' help. The next time there's another one of those polls, you guys gotta go vote for Phoenix Wright. Yeah, we should just... Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. We just have Van Zieks versus Sephiroth in Smash. That'd be nice. But... anyways, totally off topic, but it's just, it looks so good, and I'm just so impressed with the story writing in this game. Man, if I called it from the first time we set our eyes on Lord Strongheart, I'll be impressed with myself. That's the thing, though. Sometimes you gotta trust your guts. You know, I feel like I have a pretty good sense of picking out creepy people. Like, if I get a weird vibe from somebody, I just don't... And sometimes I think, too, I push through it and be like, no, maybe this person's just a little awkward, and it's like, yikes. So... now all of a sudden, I just trust my gut. So when some of you guys, like, I said Stephen Noogie down in the comments are like, nah, we don't think Lord Strongheart's weird. I'm like, I don't know about that one, man. I mean, of course we're gonna see as stuff unfolds here. I just think it's very odd that the most two recent people, aside from us, to disrespect Lord Strongheart, they're kind of not in a very good situation. Gregson's is objectively worse than Van Zieks here. But like I said, I don't think you can actually effectively murder Van Zieks. I feel like he was trying it out and it didn't work out. So it's like, all right, just pin him for murder, get rid of the other guy that we don't like, and hopefully the problem will solve itself. When are we gonna get attacked? That's my question. I don't know. Where did Kazuma go? I feel like Lord Strongheart sent him somewhere specifically so he could set Van Zieks up here. Because I don't think you could outsmart both of them. But you could probably catch one of them off guard. So... fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, with the last person on Earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happens. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But...
Forgive me, Lord Van Zieks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please.
There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This? The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Oh! Who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Hairbrain. Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? Oh, he's reading a little love letter from Albert. That's cute. What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zieks never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zieks? What happened? How much do you already know?
We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street.
And that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested.
We were told that there is nobody else in the room, and that some witnesses heard a gunshot.
Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. And I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers. So he doesn't actually know what happened.
If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Oh!
After all, you're not representing me. He is going to need a lawyer, though. Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zieks? Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not!
I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. What does he mean by that?
Oh, Baroque!
After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
Yes, so it seems. Your astute little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo.
So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now?
He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. Why is he surprised? You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. This is a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one. What? Not these police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese. But please! I have no intention of engaging your services. And the chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Alright. Let's go to the room. This is really an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden, rented old room is where it happened, then.
So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life?
Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere. Oh, hey, what you think you're doing there? Every one of them drawers has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above the ceiling. Jack, then don't forget to look inside the chimney stack, too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gonna an house looking for dough when the owners were out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt. Oh, so you've turned up at last? Mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Scholes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking and that of his and then scarpered.
Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean?
Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me. Gina, would you mind if we investigated too? Listen, Odo, you're a lawyer, right? Yes? Why? Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you? Oh, poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever.
Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zeeks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court.
I suppose you're right, yeah? Go on then, Odo, get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened in here. Thank you, Gina. Like how Gina's just all of a sudden in charge for no good reason. Just has the assertive personality. Everyone's just like, I guess she's in charge. She's technically just a trainee, right? Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. Is what? Half a year since I got out of Clink. That's when I decided to give up my diving and become a detective instead. No, yes, Mr. Shulms twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, point is, I didn't really know much about the boss still in. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard.
Goodness, really?
They say he managed to solve some really tricky case. Just like that. He did? Yup, and ever since then, he started going out on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? Now, what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I heard him say as much. I take my hat off to that fella. Were his words. Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard. He said something else to me and all. That I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. Did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Apparently it's being rented by some cove called Hugh Bone.
Hugh Boone?
Is it Boone? Hugh Boone. I guess Boone instead of Bone.
Hugh Boone?
It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name that... Is it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from the appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All the lads in the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves.
I do wonder.
Yes, Miss Susato?
Well, could it be that this Hugh Bone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself?
What? How could that be?
Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his.
I'd never even considered that. Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. You are? If you look around the room, you'll see. There's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail.
I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there.
Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently, the bullet went right through him and struck the candle tray on the wall. Oh, yes. It's blown one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's in it, no denying it. What? Really?
How do you know that?
Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I've heard. Don't know much about guns myself. If there's some bigwig lawman or whatever said so, why don't you ask him? Bigwig lawman, is it? Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There was some street sellers just outside it with the gunshot.
Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside.
Yeah, they've all been taken down to the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling. You think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves? I doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for, and you'll be up for a grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Man, I can't believe they killed off Gregson, dude.
This looks like some sort of notice board or something.
And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper.
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, look!
This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it?
And these are case notes here, and details of prison inmates.
Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room?
Some old newspaper cuttings. Ah, and this one here.
Oh yes, the advertisement, you mean? To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here?
Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. Ah!
What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head.
They are! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! Quickly!
Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow?
Of course she's familiar! We only met her this morning!
Ah! It's Mrs. Vigil! Hold up. Alright, they can't be the same person. I was like, they kind of have similar eyebrows. But what was her husband up to for 10 years? It seems kind of suspicious. Is he gonna be the person that killed Detective Gregson? I have no idea. Mrs. Vigil?
This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here?
To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped.
I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either.
An empty fireplace makes a room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it?
It's thick with dust, look! I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time.
In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather.
Or nobody lived here at all, and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely.
No, that's right. It's one or the other. Excuse me?
Oh, Inspector! Oh, sir!
Poor man, he can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Excuse me?
Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir.
Right. Perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. Oh. Gregson, too, is trying to sneak into the red-headed club. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing.
Oh! Funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! It is! A bright red hairpiece!
And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it?
And in such flame-colored red, too!
Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it?
Exactly! This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it.
This is presumably the murder weapon, then.
Oh my! It is real, I suppose?
I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them.
There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot!
No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer to just ask someone who might know, I think. So I suppose this is where the victim...
That's right! The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away.
And would probably be under Dr. Science's scalpel by now, if not for what had happened last week.
From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up into a ball. Are you feeling all right, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost.
I know it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. And especially with that blood stain next to it.
Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality.
Susato-san is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Oh? What's this?
It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way.
Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson?
It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeeks playing with something like this.
It's only about 8 centimeters tall, and it could have fallen out of someone's pockets, I suppose. And I think we should record it as evidence, just in case.
Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful after all, in a way.
Boarded up windows. Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore.
Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least still let in some light, so you could say...
You could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. Excuse me?
If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard.
I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. I think I've got everything here. Where did Sholmes run off to? Gina, you know anything about this gun? No, she doesn't.
The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear.
I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too? For fun? Oh. Ah! What's that?
It appears to be some sort of key.
But it's tiny, though. It couldn't be a key for a door, not at that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Okay. Interesting. This looks like some sort of key.
Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key.
What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? And what's it for? Alright. Aiding and abetting the escape from this prison of convicts just prior to his execution. Details of the escape are still being investigated. Jailbreak plot was conceived prior to incarceration. Interesting.
Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin, number 1. Yokohama departure 11 September, London arrival 1st November.
Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotaba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover.
I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo?
Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Alright. Now, I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you?
I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off at a gust of wind, I mean.
That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think?
I suppose this must have been the murder weapon.
Oh my! It is real, I suppose.
I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed a little light on things here. Feel like we gotta go find Sholmes. Say ya, Jaina. Alright, Sholmes is in here.
Father's only just arrived after a very long voyage from home. And tomorrow he will speak at an important symposium that will garner the attention of the whole world. He needs a little peace and quiet now.
Alright, I was just about to think that.
Pardon?
It's one thing reading my thoughts, but at least let me have them first.
Oh dear. Perhaps my brain works too quickly.
Alright, let's... Hey, I know you told us not to come back, but... we came back. Okay. I mean, we could just present stuff to Gina, I suppose, see what happens. Man, I can't believe they killed off Gregson. What is that? Evidence? Work something out about what happened, have you? I assumed she was just gonna go through her line about stealing it again, but... Oh, no, not exactly. I ain't been long enough in the job to get all this deducting business yet. But I swear I'm gonna get the person what did this to the boss. Who can I talk to that knows anything about guns? It's not Gina, obviously. Well, let me investigate this door. Nope, can't do anything. Alright. What about over here? No. Anything that looks like it has a keyhole. I'd investigate the candles. Oh. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off.
Yes, there's wax spattered on the wall behind it, look!
And I suppose if a bullet had hit it...
It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body.
Ugh. Now that wax in the wall looks like blood to me. Alright, so that we needed to add to our inventory. Let's go harass Van Zeeks. Like, hey, I know you told us not to come back, but is this your gun? He still won't talk to us. What about... Sholmes is sweet. Maybe Sholmes is back? Darn it, wishful thinking. You're not hiding over here, are you? No. Ugh. Let's investigate the candles, I suppose. Just picking up this candelabra somehow. I feel like this is important. The key is important. Nothing news popped up here. Has anything changed here, perhaps? Sato, can we click on your dad again? No. Yeah, I didn't think there'd be anything here, but hey, it was worth coming back to look. Huh. Right, because we've examined everything we can examine in the court record, right? I suppose we haven't looked at this. I like reading the little tidbits about the articles, too. Professor Mikotaba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least called you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. Oops. The chair's broken. That's interesting. I wonder where Sholmes could have gotten off to. No, we can't do anything here at all. My eye was always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris use as a coffee table.
Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers?
It is. So you think that they treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it.
Oh no!
I suppose something must have been frustrating him.
What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged?
The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes.
Oh dear. That is a painful tale.
I was hoping we might have been able to use the key there. And I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm blanketed table is so comforting.
Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo! Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know.
I know, Susato. And I worry sometimes about how Susato sees me. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of stuff that kind of looks like keyholes. I don't know, I'm a little stumped right now, I must admit. Not mean to click on that. I wonder, okay, so Sholmes ran off. We have this key. I'm not sure. Because I feel like we did click on everything. There has to be something we missed somewhere. The question is where. I want to hang out in here for now. I don't know. Someone sneak over here? Alright, this is different. Alright, so it looks like when we came here the first time, we hadn't clicked on the candelabra. I had missed it. Just click on different places sometimes. You've made good time. I've took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart, can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Oh, it's Cosmo in a snazzy new outfit. Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train, so I could check all the paperwork. It's...
Cosmo-sama!
Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes.
I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
And I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zeeks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
Oh no, surely not!
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Cosmo! Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Sogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings, leading the prosecution. Wait, what? Cosmo? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law.
Cosmo-sama? A prosecutor?
I'm sure you can investigate that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed on... Oh, I'm sure you can imagine. That makes more sense. That tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dark. Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths.
But Lord Van Zeeks firmly denies any involvement in such matters.
And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now.
Ah!
No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. So, Cosmo will be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right.
But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart.
Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I have no doubt at all that Cosmo will be razor sharp as a prosecutor.
But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? Why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation.
I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented, quite exceptional, in fact.
You are quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused of one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive that as the judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution. Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. Yeah, why'd Cosmo come back just to be rude? Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zeeks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask someone higher up who might know.
That's right! Mr. Naruhodo! Be direct!
It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
In that case, it could actually belong to the victim.
No, Gregson had his gun on his person. Cosmo's just looming in the background, staring at us. What about Lord Van Zeeks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeeks. Can we talk to Cosmo if I examine and click on him? We can. Hello. I mean, the outfit's spiffy, but he just looks so rude. Looks like, what is the thing called? Ultraman? No. Not Ultraman. There is some other... I feel like they used to... I feel like there's a character in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom that had like a mask. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it's Smash? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I remember seeing a character that the design of the mask kind of reminded me of. I don't know. Yeah, it's not Ultraman based on my quick search here. But some other masked character. Anyway. I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything. Including what I was coming here to do. Right.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me, but there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh, what is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you.
Kazuma-sama, what?
You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here.
Oh!
I actually have a favor to ask. Which is? This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as a defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Zeeks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. That's Lord Van Zeeks and Inspector Gregson. In a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. And who's the third person? Right, that's gotta be Clint, right? It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight-talking makes him take a different view. Take it. That's a cute little photograph. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Obviously he wants to be prosecutor because he doesn't believe Van Zeeks did it either. Sus! Alright. Like, alright, nerd! Look at this photograph! I know you're friends with Gregson. Let me be your lawyer because I know you're not that giant of a douchebag to kill him. That's some straight talk. Lord Van Zeeks is still reading that letter.
We've been gone quite some time, though.
Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time.
Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you. In other words, no.
We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Cosmo Asogi. Asogi? That made the color drain from his face. Huh. Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. No boo-hoo, you have to talk to us. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi.
Genshin Asogi was Cosmo-sama's father.
So what cruel twist of fate is this now? 10 years later, the man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court. I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Cosmo to you. That's what he does. No doubt he knew of the young man's true identity from the outset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve?
And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Cosmo recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this child to somebody like that? Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese. Right, your hatred of all us Japanese. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor, assigned to the investigation as his partner, was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Asogi? Exactly. And as I developed a deep respect for the man, he seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong. This is some spooky music.
Oh, how awful!
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted an Asogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean? By the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the Professor case inquiry, Lord Mail Strongheart.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? Lord Strongheart? He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person whom I've felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you?
Huh?
And, of all things, as a lawyer. And I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. And your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me, I could no longer control it. And I can understand why, now I know the history. But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Cosimo Sogi, I am the bane of his, the Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it into court tomorrow.
Now, I know I memed about it either last episode or the episode prior. Haha, Lord Strongheart is actually the professor. I don't know, man. I don't feel like I have enough context to this professor case to actually be able to determine whether or not Cosimo's dad is the professor. I mean, from what we know about Judge Jigoku, from what we know about Susanto's dad, from what we know about Cosimo, I don't understand how... I mean, it does happen in real life, right? Where someone you know is just doing something completely heinous and, like, it just never even realized. I mean, I've thankfully never experienced that. But, you know... I guess you really never know what people are doing behind closed doors, but it just seems to me all very convenient that even I feel like I don't know if it's foreshadowing or just I'm on the Strongheart hate train. You guys have really got me rethinking things, but I don't know. You know, that even Lord Strongheart was like, well, some would even say that it was beneficial to the British society that all these people died. Just like the same thing he said about the people that mysteriously died to the Reaper. And he was the prosecutor. And Clint was the top of the prosecution department, which is what now Lord Strongheart is and wants to, you know, clean up things his way. He wants to be, you know, he wants to show the world that the way, he says the way Great Britain runs it, but he wants to be the Attorney General to control all of it. Wants to be the leader in the world for running a tight ship for the country. And I just... It started off as kind of a meme. I didn't trust him. He seemed suspicious. But just we learn more and more events that seem to be connected in a way that I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like that clip from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I've never seen. And I only recently learned that it's from It's Always Sunny. But just where the guy has all the different strings and all the papers on the board and is just incoherently like, you know, look at this, and the other guy's like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm that guy and you guys are the other guy that's just watching this guy have a mental breakdown over what he sees as all these connections. It just... I don't know.
Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he?
I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean?
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
No!
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place. And it sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed.
I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at the Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would have never been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my! 10 years ago!
Why is that so surprising? Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time. and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. This powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death. Alright, so Gregson actually solved the case. So, you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then.
And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone.
Oh!
And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I've no doubt he thought of me as only the ominous Rooper, just like the rest of London. What really went on between Lord Van Zeeks and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of their relationship? Alright, let's ask about the gun and then we'll present the photo, because we obviously know that Gregson liked him, so... Be like, gotcha, you're wrong. People like you. Let us in your heart. Open up your heart. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Oh, yes, that's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that?
Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it, then? That, I don't know.
Oh!
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps.
You have something in common with Lord Van Zeeks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. He'd tell it for misplacing things.
No, this has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear, the rift is very wide, isn't it?
So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Lord Van Zeeks, we came by this old photograph. When did you get that?
You look so cute.
That is a small boy. Precious. It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense. No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less. Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. And I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle, an insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the stone-cold Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name. And I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across this courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth. Lord Van Zeeks? From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now. I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese, who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes, my brother, Clint, and Genshin Asogi. The man he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. See, I don't know. I'm still not convinced. Like I said nearly 3 hours ago, I'm not convinced 100% that Kazuma's dad killed everybody. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. And I look to the future with hope. Since then, I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, and I want to believe in that look in your eyes, and I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me? And of course I will. It would be an honor.
I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo!
And then my life is in your hands. For Lord Van Zeeks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma. Oh, man. Twisted Karma and His Last Bow is the name of this episode here, but oh man, this was a doozy and a half. You know, this episode started off so fun.
Haha, Sherms dyed his hair funny color and then got bamboozled. Aha, he turned it blue instead.
And then Gina's like, Gregson died? And it's like, what? Completely changed the tone. I was like, all right, this is weird. Why is her husband missing? Dude didn't work at the prison for 10 years. It's very weird. I was wondering if we were going to go to the prison and find him dead or something, because this is investigation part 1, obviously. So I'm like, all right, we haven't found a case yet. What's going on? And it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, Gregson's dead and Van Zeeks is accused of murder. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is wild. But yeah, I'm still, I mean, as the further we've gone through this episode, I'm still not certain. I'm not certain that Kazuma's dad was the professor. Because it seems like everyone who knew him thought he was a good guy, but like I said, that's not always the case. I mean, great people that you think are great people can be horrible people on the inside. You know, if it was that easy just to pick out the people that are doing heinous things, like, you know, murderers or people that do stuff to kids and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that problem, it would just be, you know, gotten rid of so much easier. But people are good at hiding in plain sight, and just average person, you think, you know, maybe your best friend for like 20 years and they do something crazy. You never know. So maybe he did do it, but like I said, I feel like that meme from Always Sunny, just focusing on Lord Strongheart, and it just, I don't know. You know, part of me hopes that you guys were right and it's not him, but it's just, this seems insane. Like, if it is, if Lord Strongheart is behind all of this, and it's just, I don't know. Why haven't we been attacked yet, if it's the case? That's the only thing that's keeping me from going like 110%. Like, I'm 100% in. I'm not 110% in. I'm at like probably at least 108.5%, you know? Why hasn't anything been done to us to eliminate us, if it is the case? Because we keep foiling what I would be planning out as his plan. I don't know. But that would mean Gregson found something that pinned it on the wrong person. But, like, what would it even be? What did they find? Could just been misinterpreted. Could have been... I don't know. I feel like... I don't know. I'm very curious to see how things go, because I looked at a walkthrough, not the cheats, but I looked at a walkthrough just to plan out the rest of the schedule. So, we have, of course, Trial 1, then it should go Trial 2, Investigation 2. The case ends here. Case 4 is only a 4-parter. And then Case 5 here starts off with a Trial Part 1, Investigation 1, Trial 2, Trial 3, and that's it. So part of me is like, is this just going to be one big ol' case here? What's going to happen? Why does it start off with a trial? That, to me, no investigation. Seems like we're just continuing whatever finishes off here. So my question is, are we going to go back through the professor case? I mean, that doesn't seem like a possibility, but there's so many questions. Because then why... There's so many questions I have, because the execution was faked. Because as it appears from that dismissal report of Mrs. Vigil's husband, Mr. Vigil, that he helped a prison break. So the professor escaped. But then why was he hiding in the graveyard? How did he get shot? Why did they fake the execution? Why did they have Dr. Scythe? It wasn't Scythe at that point, but whatever her name was. Why did they have her fake the autopsy reports? Why was Strongheart here? Now is essentially, you know, what is it, like, chief judiciary, whatever his title is, but he was essentially, he now is the head prosecutor. But he wasn't at the time, it was Clint. And then, of course, when Clint died, it seems like he moved up the ranks. And now he's eyeballing Attorney General. But Strongheart on the case. Passed it along to Van Zieks. Van Zieks develops a reputation. Lord Strongheart says, you know, one could argue that these people dying is a good thing. It's like, oh, they got murdered, that's kind of weird. But these people, getting rid of them is best for society. You know, that's his opinion. And he even said, it rubbed me the wrong way. Him standing there here in this episode saying, you know, some people might say it was a good thing that these people died. And it's like, yeah, but the thing is like, they're not criminals, though. They're just, literally, Clint was just in his way of his ascension. But what is his goal? I mean, we know his goal. We know what Strongheart wants. Just the fact that we haven't been murdered yet is weird. And I think that's probably Steven, what's holding back Steven, too. It's like, if Strongheart's doing all these things, and we keep, you know, breaking it down and learning bits and pieces about what, you know, he's doing, if that's all true, if it is, all my crazy conspiracy here is true, why isn't he just trying to get rid of us? I mean, yeah, it's easier said than done, I suppose, but I don't know. I have so many questions here. Oh, I have so many questions. But I think that does it here for episode number 34. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know they've been very long episodes recently. Well, we're on a streak of how many 3-hour episodes in a row? Or nearly 3 hours at least. I mean, to be fair, I was struggling there for a bit. I don't know how much time I wasted going back and forth without realizing that I didn't click on the candelabra. But some pretty long episodes here. I mean, we're getting a lot of great story. And it's definitely hard to record these and keep up with it. But I am having an absolute blast, you guys. So I hope you guys are as well. So if you are, don't forget to go ahead and hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts on the happenings here. Rip Gregson. I like Gregson. Gregson was kind of annoying. But I can't believe they killed Gregson. Like, it's always one of those things. It's like, oh, you got to kill off one of the cast members, throw him for a loop. I'm always, like, oddly nervous they're going to kill Iris and be like, you can't kill a 10-year-old girl. You can't do that, right? You know, they already killed Cosmo. You thought Cosmo was, like, your generic death. And I'm like, I guess Cosmo came back. I should start getting nervous. But, like, I'm always a little worried that, like, Sholmes is going to kick the bucket. You know, at the beginning I was memeing whether the judge or Susato's dad's gonna get it because they're involved from 10 years ago. I was wondering, you know, the judge's buddy-buddy with the current attorney general and stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, not looking good for the judge. It's like, nope, we're just gonna have Gregson die. And it's like, oh, no, poor Gregson. So, let me know your thoughts on all of those happenings in the comments section down below. And of course, if you're not yet part of the Alley's Treasure Trove family, I know this isn't the most happy episode here. Lots of craziness going on. I am pleased that Van Zieks has opened his heart to us. You know, get past all of his hatred and his lack of trust for anybody, but he can see that we are fighting for the truth. And he appreciates it, so he's given that. He has to believe in something, and that's what he's selected to believe in. That's very heartwarming, especially coming from him. And I hope that, part of me does hope that it wasn't Cosmo's dad, not only because I'd be right with my day one conspiracy theory, but also that would be easiest way I feel for Van Zieks to let go. You know? I want him to be our friend. You know, it's always the delusional fangirl is always like, yeah, but maybe he can change for us. But in this case, I want him to change for Ryunosuke. I want him to realize all his prejudice. Yes, he's angry. Yes, you know, maybe his foreign friend. He even said it consumed him. His hatred for Japanese people based on that betrayal from somebody he thought was his friend and then murdered his brother. You know, I want him. I don't want to say move on, but you know, find closure, live his life instead of just walking around being a ball of crippling depression. You know, he's like Edgeworth, but racist. And if he can learn to get past being racist and accept. And just, you know, even if it is Cosmo's dad, I hope he learns that, you know, obviously, if one person doesn't represent everybody, so. I'm just curious. I don't know. I'm worried that I'm too tunnel visioning on the Strongheart conspiracy going, like I said, 108.5% in on it. That I'm missing out on something else that's wild that's going on. But if so, then I'll just be completely blown away with the whatever mega reveal. So I'm excited to get into the next episode. So I should be back tomorrow with a new episode of Ace Attorney. If it turns out I don't get to record it, see, because I was going to record them back to back, but, you know, as you guys can see up here, I've been talking. Wow, I've been talking for 10 minutes. We've had 10 minutes of post-game discussion. But it is 1:37 a.m., which means if there's another 3-hour episode, I will be unable to function during the day. So I'm thinking go home, wake up early, try and record again. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully. I mean, the trial ones usually aren't that long unless I completely blunder something. We usually have a witness, a cross-examination, and what are the summation examinations? That's usually what we have. 3 parts usually to a trial. So they're usually a good solid hour to hour and a half. If there's a second witness, sometimes it can go to like 2 hours. So it shouldn't be too bad on the trial part 1. Some of the other trial episodes might be pretty long though. But I think I'll just get up early. But I'll let you guys know if I am actually unable to record it. I mean, it'd be super disappointing because I too, personally, I'm like, man, I wish I could just go home, lay in bed, and just play this and then fall asleep immediately and then wake up and go to work. But it's not the case. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. So before I get on out of here, of course, I have to give a big shout out to all of my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much you all for your above and beyond supports. I really, truly do appreciate it. Do have 5 Black Label fans. We do have, of course, Jack Prez, Keith Muna, Mako, Mark Mardini, and Stephen Olivo. 2 Crystal Collectors, or not Crystal Collectors, excuse me, 2 Gemstone Miners, Andon and Stephen Bly, and 1 Crystal Collector, John Michek. But thank you so much to all of my patrons. Like I said, appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much for your above and beyond continued support. It really means a lot. But with that, that does wrap off this episode here. Absolutely insane happenings once again. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care, everybody, and I hope you'll join me next time as we progress further into these mysteries here on Alley's Treasure Trove. Stay safe. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!